down to Hula Tangerine or not. It's all great titles there for the movements. So it's 1 and 2. I'm so sorry, it wasn't me not wanting to clap. This is brilliant playing. Well done. So you're just playing 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So from Strawberries to An Off You Pine. Excellent, loved it. And you, what's great is, it's a bit of an obvious thing to say, but this has been a chamber music day. Lovely final performance of it, by the way. But the more you add to the chamber groups in their numbers, the harder it is to control as an ensemble what chamber music is, that business of coming together and making it that one, that you the collective group, your collective personality. And it's kind of, in some ways, easier for a trio to do that than it is a sextet for very obvious reasons, because you've got so much more layers to think about in terms of how you then bring those together. And you do that all very, very skillfully, so well done. So for more just details than anything else, with the Strawberries, I just wanted to have a little bit more rhythmic articulation from your good self, if that's right, just to kind of punctuate it a little bit more from the baritone upwards, as it were. I think it just needs to sort of cut through the beats a little bit more. I mean, there's, it's a lot of beats in terms of the 4 crotchets in each bar from the vast majority of you there. Then okay, the top line singing above it. But I think if you can just carry through your dotted rhythm a bit more, just to make that a little bit more of a kind of driving force there, that would be good. Can we just start it once again, the first one? Sorry. Rhythmic energy, and rhythmic energy so often goes hand in hand, of course, with the articulation, and then that really gives the excitement. There's also, of course, in both movements, these places where she wants Karen Street, the composer, wants you to really be as one in a very, like a very short period of time, with one bar to do that poco crescendo. And that's where you've got to be completely moulded together and think about where that crescendo is being, again, where's the driving seat, where's it being driven from. So I reckon that's probably more in the middle of your ensemble, yeah? So, and that bar, really go for da, 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 ya, and you can lead the way there, I think a lot more. What I want you to think about in general, but especially in the first movement, is how, especially in this acoustic, how and where you can pull back more. Okay, and just let the light in for your listeners, because it's a brilliantly bright and impressive sound that you make, the 6 of you, and it, in terms of the overall timbre of your instruments, it's going to be something often very bright, and yet there's this wonderful lyrical quality to saxophone as well that I just wanted to be let in a little bit more. For example, the super piano. Before the coda sign there, but also, I mean, places like the forte piano there, where you've got that forte piano. There's yours, isn't it? The bar 20. Who's got the forte piano? Bar 20.
Oh, I got that.
You got it. Sorry, yes, I had one. Yeah. But really pull back, and then your entry, da 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 da, the 4 of you in the middle there. I know it's Mark said forte, but I think just remember, forte piano is exactly what it says in the tin. It's a forte and then a piano. So pull back, let the light in again, and then let that inner texture come through. So just be aware of, just constantly looking at the score, 6 of you looking at the score, and thinking like, where can we let the light in? Where are those moments? The super piano is an obvious one, because then that's exactly again what it says in the tin. It's just suddenly coming soft. And you can really shock. Remember, things that go suddenly quieter in a musical performance can be every bit as dramatic, if not more dramatic, than the things that are suddenly louder. And this is what we just all of us, me as a pianist as well, got to be slightly careful. We as human beings find it kind of easier to do crescendos. We find it easier to, hammer things home. It's like when you hear a politician make a speech, they get louder and louder, and kind of stamp their fists and that kind of. Do you see what I mean? But actually, sometimes the most dramatic things when someone's making a speech, where they suddenly go softer, make the audience listen to them. So those moments can be really, really dramatic. Can we just go from the second entry of the into bar 10, just to practice into that sort of piano, just see if you can make it really dramatic when you get there. So this is from bar 9 with the solo line, and then you're coming in at bar 10. You made that shine through a lot more, and also we heard a lot more of the tenor and alto one, that little semiquaver figure there came through, which is quite sort of sneaky, and came through a lot better because of the pullback there. So do remember those places to pull back. And I just, at the very end, at the coda, I just thought we would, again, it was more view at the beginning to punctuate it rhythmically, and then more view at the end just to kind of fill the sound out from the bass. I thought you're a very important person in this ensemble because you're kind of filling out the sound. We talked a lot about that today. It's wonderful on a day like today when we find these generic things about chamber music that apply to every single group. We've had piano trios today, we've had mixed wind and piano, and brass and wind and all kinds of combinations, but in fact the rules are the same that make chamber music, make a chamber music performance brilliant. And one of them is that we constantly need to be thinking about inner sonorities and bottom lines to kind of really colour the harmony. Then you gave us your slice of the pie, the banoffee pie, and here I just wanted, funny enough, this is something I was saying to a group earlier who were also playing a waltz. This is obviously a jazz waltz, and I was saying don't get too kind of hung up on the fact that there's a bar every 3 beats. Now we know it's a waltz, so it's going to be in 3 time. Every single waltz is, really won't find one that isn't. So we know there's going to be a bar every 3 beats in a waltz. But that doesn't mean that the actual phrase is 1, 2, 3. Then another phrase 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Sometimes the phrase might really carry through, and I think this is at the very least in chunks of sort of 2 bars, often working towards a 3rd bar. And I guess what I'm really saying for me, I just had it was slightly too vertical. I had a few too many downbeats, and I just wanted to carry through a little bit more. And also where you have those triplets in the top line in bar 9 and to 10, and the rest of you who are playing there have got the hairpin. That could be a real moment to carry forward as well. So always be thinking about direction, and don't see the next point of direction as the next bar line just because it's a waltz. See it as where the phrase is really going. Have that in your mind, just start it again, and just see if you can get more line in this one. Those landmarks, and it made sense. I did, but the first time I guess I had a lot of notes, very impressively played, but it was just all a bit too sort of rigid. That time it kind of had freedom because you sort of took the bar lines out, which is probably a really good thing to do anyway. And Obviously the offbeats, the staccatos and the tenutos and the alto 2 and alto 4 and all of that, I mean, they can really cut through. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, so it's not just about the line, but the more you get the line, the more you can then play around and be flexible with those kind of cutting through like you're doing there, which that's all really, really working. And again, on the theme of making the softings a real surprise, I've got bar 33. Bar 33, I wanted that piano to be far more of a surprise, and I think then it will lend itself more to the espressivo that alto 4 and tenor have at that point where the line starts. So I'm just going to plant that seed with you really, but bar 33, top lines, and indeed yourself as well, where you've got those tied dotted minutes. Just something more sustained, but again, know where to pull back. That's the point. Don't always feel that you need to be playing out. You play extremely expressively and impressively as a sextet. You're individually 6 very good players, and in this environment, you're in a hall with a very lovely acoustic. So I think that if one overriding thing to take away from this is especially with this kind of music that's got, of course it's so jazzy and it's bold and it's got parts of it quite brash and in a brilliant way, and it's got that brilliance, but it's also got these moments of real kind of humour at times, sentimentality, that kind of thing. And for those moments, I think you just need to know where to just stand still, a little step back from it. And remember, your audience they'll be in tune with you. You've made a really good impression at the start of your performance, so they'll be there with you, and you can afford to take them to you a little bit and say, sort of step back. But seriously, well done. I know you've come from a very busy day today to then come and perform these, and it was a really fantastic performance, so thank you very much indeed.